want to hear you a rubber ducky either. You are 3 years old and sinking really, really fast. Listen, Leo's here. I've got to go. Don't be late. Well, I'm having spaghetti. You're having baby food. Goodbye.
Oh, Jenny.
Hello, Leo. Come on in. You know, the dinner the other night was really wonderful. And Marilyn is a very sweet girl.
Thank you. We'd love to have you out to the house as soon as the two of you get settled.
I love that. Listen, can I get you coffee and stale cookies? I'm trying to clean out my kitchen.
A few minutes. That's all I'm staying. I just want to state my case and then leave.
Oh, that sounds pretty serious. Please, sit.
This is none of my business, you know. I have no right being here.
Well, I think loving your brother is very much your business, Leo.
I'm glad you feel that way, because I do. The reason why I wanted to come up here and talk, and if I'm out of line here, you tell me. The reason why I came up here, the foundation of my thoughts, the structure of my desire to delineate, the structure to delineate, what the hell is that?
You think that George and I are moving too fast.
Exactly. Christ, thank you. I thought that sentence was going to take me right through middle age.
2 weeks is very fast.
In some circles, that's considered grease lightning. But, be that as it may, and I hasten to add that I never use expressions like be that as it may, or I hasten to add. But I'm having trouble here. This is very delicate territory, and we're dealing with someone that I care very much about.
Leo, I told George that I would wait as long as he wanted. 2 weeks, 2 months, didn't matter. But he said, no, it's all planned. It's on Monday, the 23rd. It's all arranged. What do you think is going to happen, Leo?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But listen, you know, I once did some work for this insurance company, and they published these statistics that were in every national magazine. The greatest loss that can happen to a man or woman in terms of traumatic impact to the survivor is the death of a spouse. The loss of a parent, a child, a job, a house, any catastrophe is not deemed as devastating as the death of a husband or wife. So in time, thank God, in the laws of nature, most people work through it. But it takes the time. And I wouldn't want to see you and George get hurt by denying them that time. Or to both of you.
I see. Have you talked to George about this?
I can't always tell what's on George's mind. You know, he keeps so much bottled up inside of him. Maybe he spills it out when he's alone at the typewriter. I really don't know.
Well, then can I ask you a question?
What?
What was it like when Barbara died?
No, Jack. No. I really don't think you want to go through all that.
No, I don't, but it just shown that I really need to. Come on, Leo, tell me.
All right. They were very close. I mean, as close as any couple I've ever known. Even after 10 years, they held hands in a restaurant. I'm married 11 years. I don't pass the salt to my wife. When George first found out how ill Barbara was, he just refused to accept it. I mean, he knew it was serious, but there was no way that she was not going to beat it. He just couldn't conceive of it. Barbara never let on to a soul that anything was ever wrong. Even her best friend came up to George at the funeral and said, I just didn't know. She was beautiful. beautiful, Jen, in every way. But in the last few months, you know, you could see that she was really beginning to slip. George would go to dinner or to parties and leave early, never letting on that anything was ever wrong, especially not letting on to themselves. Then one morning, George called me from the hospital, and he says very quietly, very simply, "She's gone, Leo." And it surprised me because I thought when it was finally over, I thought that he would just fall to pieces. I mean, I expected a full crack up. And it worried me that he was so held together. I saw him as often as I could. I mean, I called him all the time. And then suddenly, I didn't hear from him for about 5 days. I called him, he would never answer his phone. I called his building, they said that they hadn't seen him come in or out. So I got plenty scared. So I went right over there, they let me in with the pass key, and I find George sitting in his bedroom with the TV on, but no sound. He was in filthy pajamas, drenched in perspiration. There was a container of milk sitting on the floor next to him that had gone bad. He had lost 8, 9 pounds. I said to him, "George, why didn't you answer your friggin' phone? Are you all right?" And he just looks and he says, "I'm fine. I'm fine, Leo." And he reached over and touched my hand, and for the first time in a year and a half, real tears began to flow. He cried for hours, all through the night. I still couldn't get him to eat anything, so the next morning I called our doctor and he came right over and admitted him right into Mount Sinai. He was there for about 10 days. He was in terrible shape. His greatest fear was that I was going to commit him someplace. Well, when he gets out, he stayed with me for about a week. I couldn't even get the guy to take a walk. His biggest fear and his panic was that he would never make it back to the house. Well, I finally get him to take a walk to the corner. He didn't let go of my arm for a second. As we started to cross the street, he stopped and said, "No, Leo, take me back. It's too far." A few weeks later, he goes into therapy, a really good doctor. And he was seeing this doctor for about a month, and then he decided he wasn't going back. And he wouldn't explain why. But the doctor explained to me that George was making a very determined effort not to get better. Because getting better meant finally letting go of Barbara. And there was no way that he was ever going to do that. Then one day, bang! He takes off for Europe. But not to new places, only to the same places that he and Barbara had visited before. So when he gets back, you know, he looked better, and he seemed more cheerful. So in my usual dumb, impulsive way, I thought he would want what I would want if I was in his place. Companionship. Well, companionship to me and to him turned out to be two different things. You know, George has good instincts. He knows what's right for him, and God knows what I was offering wasn't. Until the night I saw you sitting there with Faye. And I said, yeah, that's for my Georgie.